Hey you guys, it's your girl Dash coming back to Criminal Takes. Today I'll be doing a review to a movie titled Disobedience, starring Rachel Weisz, Rachel McAdams, and Alessandro Nivola. Now, I had done a reaction to this actual movie a couple months back, and it caught my eye simply for the fact that I'm a fan of Rachel, both Rachels, to be quite honest with you, their work, their body of work. And when I enjoyed watching the trailer, I was very intrigued with the way the story was being told from a standpoint of sexuality, family, and religion. I don't see as many movies, that kind of hit all those type of narratives in a story. So that intrigued me. And since these two ladies are great at their craft, I said, you know what, I'll check this out. Plus, I had a couple of people who commented asking me if I would, and I said I most definitely plan to see this. I just saw this past weekend, and I will tell you, I really enjoyed this movie. Now, the director of this movie, his name is Sebastian Lelio. He did an outstanding job with the three main characters. They basically, for me, had me really engulfed in, especially Rachel Weisz. Now, from the beginning of the movie, you see a scene where it's played by Rachel Weisz's character, her father, who is known as Rob Krushkov. I hope I'm saying it correctly. My apologies. Played by Anton Lesser. He plays her father, and he's in the middle of speaking to his followers of his church, and he ends up becoming ill. So she is called because he has passed, and she's actually coming back to go to his funeral. Now, for her, it's a lot to take in because, of course, she's now in New York. She's not at home in London, which is where her family is originally from. She is from a actual family that is located, it was just like an Orthodox Jewish community, very strict in their faith, whichever, that is located in London. So, of course, she gets the call and she goes back. Now, I love how you can see from Rachel Weisz's way of just kind of negating her position, like her facial expressions, her feelings, her ways of doing her character run it throughout the movie. You can tell she feels a certain hesitation to go, but it's her father. She is the only child, and unbeknownst to her, her father took a shining to a friend from the past who's kind of like a surrogate son to take on the role as the next rabbi. So, of course, when she gets home, she comes across him, and he is not. At first, he's kind of unaware that she actually was told whatever. It was not him who, of course, let her know that her father passed to come. She does see another childhood friend named Esty, played by Rachel McAdams' character. And from there, just the bonding over again, getting to see how everybody's doing. She doesn't feel, of course, quite welcomed by most of the other community. But, of course, these two, of course, they love and care for her, so she is. And she has a couple other family members, her uncle and her aunt, of course, who love her, who, are happy to see her. Now, throughout the movie, you can see her dealing with, being there, feeling like there was things that were unresolved with her father. She, loved her dad. She doesn't know if he really thought that she loved him because of things that happened in the past, because of her feelings for Rachel McAdams' character. That is basically kind of where it stems from, and how she felt like she wasn't free. She left because she didn't feel free to be herself, so she moved, of course, to New York. Now, they never really tell us exactly at what age did she actually leave. Through the movie, you see how you just abruptly left. Like, she just left, and from there, when she comes back, they're like, oh, I didn't know this was happening to her. Remember, you just left. So that kind of came up a couple times with David and, of course, with Esty. Now, Esty's happy to see her, and she ends up finding out that, of course, Esty and David are married. She's happy. She is shocked because that's not what she expected to happen. So she's thinking, from how Esty was when they were, together in the past, when they were, considered themselves at times, someone she cared for, like a soulmate, that she would never think that she would do that. But of course, like she said, you left, this is the life she took on. She's married. She thinks she's a great wife. She is a teacher, and she teaches these young girls, singing, learning, all this. She enjoys that. She takes good pride in that. So she's kind of explaining this because they have those scenes where they're talking. She's finding it hard to believe she's going along with this. What about the family members? She's asking her very intricate questions about her being intimate. When is she intimate? Just a whole bunch of things, because there's a strict way of doing things within the Jewish community when it comes to, I'm assuming, being in a marriage. That was very interesting to me. Listen to some of the discussions and things. Also, I love the scenes where they would be singing, and then it was a scene where they panned on Alessandro's character, David when they were in the middle of singing. They just came in and they thanked him, prior to them just, having the prayer. I love seeing the parts where it would just be Ronit, Esty, and David right before dinner. They would light the candles and then they would do a prayer. This is an area I'm not familiar with, so I basically was in the middle of a learning curve as I was watching the movie. So I'm taking a lot of stuff that I have no knowledge of, and I don't mind that. I actually welcome that, so that was refreshing to me. Also, just noting, I don't want to give too much of the movie away. Certain things that do happen that we consider spoiler, and I don't want to just actually address that in there. So I'm kind of trying to stay away from that. But overall, just seeing just a change a little bit in SD being around Ronit, whichever, and her, feeling that pull and tug, missing the way she was, feeling more free to be who she really is. Because if you see in the trailer, she says it to David, you knew me, you knew how I was, before you married me. And that is true. There's a scene that happens, of course, in the trailer where there's a kiss that happens. And of course, they're interrupted because a couple shows up. And that's kind of when things kind of go a little disarray and certain things start happening, with Esty at work. Then her feeling, that she doesn't know how she feels like this. She's acting like a child, like a child again, very adolescent about the way she's carrying herself. She's an adult. She's not feeling she's behaving right. But then, Ronit's like, let's go somewhere, whichever. And then that's when things start to happen between the two. And she's feeling more like herself. Of course, in the trailer, you see her like, let me take a picture. And she lets her take a picture. At first, she didn't want her to take a picture. Then she just goes with it. She has the cigarette in her mouth. She stops smoking. But of course, in this scene, she's smoking. She takes a picture with the cigarette. She has her hair off. Because in the trailer, you see her with the wig. But of course, she's embracing her feelings. She takes the wig off. Just all these things. And then, of course, certain things happen where, of course, David finds out. And he's like, what's going on? What's wrong? Whichever and all that. And she eventually admits that she's, at the moment not happy. She's like, she wants him to let her go, whichever. But the certain events happen where it kind of causes her, Ronit, and David to really think, more so David than anybody, which is one of the things I can say towards the last third act of the movie where he is being asked to speak within the church, and the rabbi, which is the uncle's character, he is, basically doing an introduction to present him to come up and speak. And of course, all these things have happened between, of course, Ronit and Esty, and she's trying to speak to him prior to him speaking, but he's kind of avoiding her. They show him back and forth. He's kind of like having like a panic attack of sorts, like, breathing hard, whatever. They're panning on his face, and you can tell he's trying to figure out what he's going to say. He's already actually gone through the speech, already knows what he was going to speak, but now that these turn of events have happened, it's kind of changed his mind, his way of thinking, and then he finally does go up there. He tries to address, the people. It's hard for him to get his words out. He, of course, addresses that, of course, the Rav's daughter is there. He brings attention to her. He talks about people being free to feel liberated to do, what they do by their own choice, because there's a scene where Esty brings this to his attention in regards to a certain climax in a scene between the three of them. And he, of course, must be thinking of this because he looks up to her and he's like, you're free. And that was a very strong scene. I don't want to give you the spoiler as to why, but it's a very heavy issue amongst the three of them that really brings him to this particular feeling and outcome. And once he lets them know that he can no longer feel he can do and take on and being the take over the position as the Rav wanted him to be, his successor, if you will. He steps out, he gives a kiss to the rabbi, whichever. They're unbeknownst to them, they're shocked. He walks out. They show a scene where Esty comes out and she hugs him, and I love the scene. Then it shows Ronit standing there on the side. She doesn't want to interrupt the hug, but then he welcomes her. He opens his arms up, whatever, and it's like that bond between the three of them together. And it was beautiful. I will say this, it was a very good scene. There's one more scene at the end when finally Ronit feels comfortable. She feels loved and welcomed, that she decides, you know what, I'm leaving. I'm going to leave David and Esty to work things out, do what they need to do. She wishes him well and she wishes her well. And there's a scene where she's leaving and Esty wants to get one last, goodbye in. It's such a beautiful scene, guys. I don't want to truly spoil how it pans out, but I was in tears. It was a beautiful, beautiful moment. and just the closure that Ronan actually needed. Because like I said at the beginning of the movie, when she's heading after the scene with the Rav, becoming ill at the church, it shows her, in the cab. Again, she just looks so just like a lost child. Like, what am I walking into? And then leaving more confident, feeling like, yes, I know my dad loved me. The things that he did not respect that I was doing, my lifestyle, whatever, and all that, that is because of the strictness of being Orthodox Jewish in that community. They do not like it, but in the end, she really felt like she knows her dad loves her, and I hope my father knew I loved him, regardless of me deciding he doesn't like this. I can't be here. I can't be who I really want to be. I have to go. So that's my real take on this movie, Disobedience. I really enjoyed it. I do plan to buy this when this comes out on DVD. Like I said, I love both the Rachel Wise and Rachel McAdams. They did a phenomenal job in this movie, you guys. There's a intimate scene between the two. It was done very tastefully. I was in a packed house for where I went at, where I'm located. So, everybody enjoyed, the movie. You could hear people talking about, which, at the end of it as we left. But yeah, a lot of people were just like very excited for the both of the Rachels, the way they depicted the characters. They did very well. I can't really think of anybody else who could have done these particular scenes for these two ladies together. I think they picked the two perfect ladies to play these two roles, especially Rachel Wise. I can't say enough about her. I've been a fan of her work for so long. Let me just tell you, and I said it before, if you all don't know, if there's another movie that really made me become a fan of her, was called A Sweat from the Sea. It was her starring, and as well as a French actor named Vincent Perez. Beautiful movie. I highly recommend that movie to you guys. I might put it up in somewhere so you can see the front cover of it, but it's a good movie. Rachel Wise is one of my favorite actresses. Let me just say favorite actor. I hate to get into the actor and actress, but yeah, she's one of my favorite actors. She does a phenomenal job. Sometimes just in an overwhelming way of her, like I said, facial expression or body language, the way she can just convey the emotions out of her face. And she did quite a lot of that in this movie too. So only thing I could say is a tiny nitpick was at times the pacing, but it was not so much that it was too much of an issue, honestly, because it seemed like it dragged out because the movie was 2 whole hours for the movie. So yes, when you're sitting there, you're wondering how long it's going to go. The way the scenes are growing, you can kind of see my point if you go to watch it. But like I said, I recommend this movie. You guys go see it. I think you will enjoy it. And like I stated as well, for the fact that I wasn't fully aware of how things are done, and they're not depicting everything that happens in the Orthodox Jewish community, but just to know that I had a little bit of a learning and seeing certain things that were bringing to my attention that I would never know that are done on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, how they do things in church during a passing, of a Rav. It was just nice to, watch it and learn as I watch. So with that, you guys, comment below. Let me know if you saw it. Let me know what you guys think of a certain scene, whichever. Please don't spoil it for some people. There's a significant part I really don't want to spoil because I think it takes away from the movie of understanding the overall outcome. So with that said, you guys, I'll see you on the next review. You guys take care.